a life I could have known, one beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wonder what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known, that would have kept me from the one I had today. Times gone by, I've traded like dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known, that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning, Robertson County. This is 1100 WSGI. I'm Utah Laverne, and yes, this is one street over. You're where you need to be if you want to know what's going on in Robertson County. And if you're not from here, well, you want to be, so just hang out. And we always talk about other stuff. I mean, we get down to business and we, cover the things that our guests need to cover, but you just never really know what's going to come up in conversation. Elizabeth Graves, soon to be Elizabeth Fletcher, is in the house. We got congratulations on the engagement.
Thank you so much.
It happened over the holidays.
Well, it happened in October.
In October, I couldn't
Yes.
remember, but I don't think you and I have talked really since it happened.
No, we have not.
Oh, and I've got to do something real quick before I forget. We're doing the daily Bible reading with Bethlehem Baptist. And so I've got to give everybody the scriptures today, and I'm just going to fess up. I'm behind, and it basically we're reading through Genesis, and the goal is to be finished with Genesis by the 23rd of this month. Today, which is the 18th, we're reading Genesis 35 through 37, and then Psalms 11. So by the time we get the 23rd of January, if you can be through Genesis and in Psalm 16, you'll be right on time. And I'm gonna catch up. I have never sat down and gotten through a yearly Bible reading. I'm in the scriptures all the time, but in a kind of a scattered way, as we tend to do. But I'm trying to very intentionally do this because my friend Rachel Culver wrote this, and she put all this together, and she's so good. But anyway, so we're doing that, and I don't know, I'm trying to, she does something very unique, and she gives, gets a Bible for her group every year. And she says, okay, we're going to look for these words. And they do like a tracking where they track the words.
Neat.
And you can write in it. And I thought, boy, what if I could do one of these a year and have these Bibles to where I can give, of course, each one of my boys one eventually. And maybe even my grandchildren. Because if I can do this, I want to do this. So if you want to read it with us, we're still in Genesis. So get going, and you can follow through and read along with us, and you can reach out to Bethlehem Baptist and even sign up for the emails that Rachel is sending out. And they're also doing the study Gospel on the Ground with Christy McClellan. They started that last night, And I can't say enough about that study because it's similar to another one I've done with her, and it's fabulous. So there's all the announcements. I've been promising everybody we'd keep them up to date on this. So I got to unpack all that. But Elizabeth Graves is in the house, and I just pull that microphone right to you. I just love how you always reach out to me and say, "Hey, I need some radio time, Laverne." And thank you, thank you, thank you. And I do appreciate it so much because I love hearing what you've got going on. How are things?
Things are good. Wedding planning is wedding planning.
It's wedding planning. It is a lot. It's a lot. So where's the wedding happening? Give us some details. Give us some details.
Okay. So I'm marrying Levi Fletcher. If you've known Frankie Fletcher, Emily, James Mack, they are his people. So
his people. I love it.
So that's who I'm marrying. And then we are getting married at First United Methodist Church, with the stained glass windows.
Oh, yeah.
We're really excited
Oh, that's
about
going to
that.
be beautiful.
So that's where we're getting married. And the wedding date is April 29th. So it's coming up.
Congratulations. That's
thank
wonderful.
you.
That is wonderful. I know you're excited. And just big old smile on your face.
Thank
and
you.
How's Mom doing? Is she
Mama's good.
is she busy? Getting ready for your wedding?
Yes.
That's always the thing for moms, especially mothers of the bride. I've got sons, so it was so funny. My first son that got married while he was in college, and he was playing football at Harding University. And I remember right after the wedding, there was a teammate of his that he was engaged and they were planning a wedding, and the mother of the groom walked up to me and she said, "So you've just been through this. Do you have any advice for me?" And I said, "Do what you're told." As the mother of the groom, I was like, "Just do what you're told and just smile." But anyway, that's wonderful. I'm just teasing, of course. But yeah, very, very excited for you. Congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And so with that said, you reached out and you said you had some things you need to cover. So
Yes.
what have you got on your plate that you need to share with the county?
Updates at the UT Extension office. I'll start with me. I am a TNCEP program assistant, which means TNCEP stands for Tennessee Nutrition and Consumer Education Program, and it is a grant that I have that the University of Tennessee offers, and I try to reach low-income families, and I basically have the fun job, and I do cooking classes. So everybody is invited to come, but I mainly try to target low-income families. So I have some classes for this month and next month, and here's what they are. So I do a class called Eat Well, Feel Well, and it is geared toward older adults.
Okay.
So and it's a 20-minute class. It's not bad, I promise. And
You go right there. Okay. There you
it's
go.
not bad. So it's at the Stokes Brown Public Library, and 20-minute class, not bad. And it is at 1 o'clock. So we'll talk about, tomorrow we're talking about hydration. Can't talk about it enough. But I'm preaching to me too. So we'll talk about hydration, vegetables, protein, and everybody's favorite, I fix soup. So we'll talk about some soup recipes and when should we use it or toss it. So it's kind of just a fun, chill class, and it starts at 1 o'clock at the Stokes Brown Public Library, and it's every Thursday.
Okay, and so I'm gonna pause for a second. Okay, so you're talking about when you say keep it or toss it. It's how long can you keep? Say, I drink V8 juice. Okay, and it says on the label, you should discard it after so many days. I'm always forgetting to mark on it when I opened it. And that's the kind of thing you're talking about.
Right.
How long to
right.
keep eggs? Can you keep them past the expiration date, especially as expensive as they are? But is that what you're talking about? Toss it or keep it? Is
and like
just
canned goods, like
Okay.
anything like that.
Well, because they have a best by date. And that's something I think you and I have talked about before when I was working at the church full time, part of my job was through the benevolent center. We'd get food in from Second Harvest, and a lot of the times something might be past its best by date, but you can still use it for a set period of time. Right? Is that what you're talking about? Okay. So tell me this: if I have a can of green beans and it says best by April 2023, is that where we are? Yeah. It says best by that. How long would you say after that best by date would you say, yeah, it's okay?
Well, as I always tell people this, as long, like cheese,
Okay.
if it doesn't smell,
If it's not green,
if it's not green,
yeah.
you're good. But USDA says go by the best by date. So
Yeah. So they say go ahead and discard it. They're just saying, okay, because I mean that's what we hand out at Second Harvest. I mean the stuff that comes through Second Harvest. Yeah, I remember I had some Egyptian families I had brought some food
Oh,
to.
wow.
Well, it's just I work with a lot of English second. I did a lot of English second language stuff years ago when I was at the church, and I would get them food. Well, like they'd be new and in the country, and so they were struggling financially. And we'd take them food, and they said, "Can we have some that's not old?" And it's just that's typically what you get because So I didn't know if there was like a standard thing that they send down from the USDA. Okay, the best by date you can go past this date, so they say nope, just go ahead and discard it. Okay. What about hydration? How much hydration do we need?
So tomorrow, I'm going to talk about hydration, and
Okay.
we're going to sample some things like orange flavored water.
Okay.
Lemon, of course, everybody's had lemon flavored water, but like cucumber water. So they say it just depends on the person.
Okay.
How much you need to drink. Like Levi, he is he's much bigger than
He's
me.
a big guy.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
But as little as I am, 100 pounds soaking wet, I don't need as much hydration as Levi needs.
Okay.
So I always use that example.
Yeah.
So,
it's really about body weight. It's about the activities and those kinds
Right.
of things that you have to take in. And she'll give you the details tomorrow.
Yes.
See, I'm trying to get
Yes.
some info out
Yes.
of her, but she's like, no, you got to come to the class.
You got to come to the
Why
class.
would I give you all my stuff right now, right? You got to come to the class and get
That's
the
right.
details.
That's
So, and
right.
tell them again, what's the time on that class we were just to talk? And this is Feel Well, Eat Well. What'd you call it?
I called it Eat Well, Feel Well.
Eat Well, Feel Well.
Yes.
And that's for us older folks.
Yes.
And you know who you are. So tell them again the time on that one before you
So
step away
it
from
is at 1 o'clock, and it is every Thursday. And
Okay.
then the library has all the info on it. So if you call
Okay.
the library and forget the times or the days, call the library. So
Absolutely.
they'll know what you're talking about.
Oh, say, sounds good. Sounds good. So okay, what else have you got?
So next, I am doing my big class, Eat Smart, Move More, at Byron Porter Senior Center. I just love Byron Porter Senior Center. It is the best. And
You
it
are the
is-
perfect person for this job because I know these seniors just see you and they're like, Elizabeth's here. Oh, they're so excited. And I know they're excited for your wedding.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you know
Yes.
they are. Those grandmas, my goodness. Oh, So, okay. So, and it's which senior center again?
So Byron Porter Senior Center, and if you don't know where that is, it is in Orlando, and I will be there every Wednesday and Friday at 11 o'clock. And this week we'll be making tuna burgers and cheese spinach noodles. Now, both of these recipes are very, very good.
I was going to say them again because I'm going, I don't know about that, but you promise they're good?
Yes.
Tuna burgers.
Yes. So
tuna
tuna
burger.
burgers. They kind of taste like salmon burgers.
Okay. I gotcha.
Because I mean, you can switch the tuna out for salmon. Like
Okay.
it's
Okay.
super
I'm very
easy.
curious, Elizabeth. I need these recipes.
Yes.
Because I love spinach. So, I mean, absolutely. So, yeah.
Yes.
And so the spinach noodles. Sounds good. Okay.
It is.
Okay.
It is. So today we're making tuna burgers. Friday, we're making cheese spinach noodles. And this class is very fun and interactive. And there's always a sample and a kitchen tool you get to take every time you attend. So
Oh, that's cool.
that's
I've
kinda my
forgotten about that.
draw-in.
You get the kitchen tool, so
Yes.
like a spatula or
Right.
or some, I don't know. So you going to tease them what you're getting them this week, or do you
Well,
have to
you'll
wait and
have to
see?
come.
Gotta wait and see. All
You'll
right,
have to come.
very good. You're just good at this job. I love
well,
this.
thank
I love
you.
it. That is so much fun. So I tell you what, let's pause for a second. We'll go ahead and take one of our breaks, and we'll come back and we're going to continue talking with Elizabeth Graves. We'll have Ryan Martin coming in here at 7:30. But we've got a lot to discuss. We want to remind you to go to Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts and Gardening Center. I love these folks because they're the ones who introduced me to CBD products that have helped me tremendously with my arthritis. My doctor told me to check them out. I was stunned because I thought it was, I say it all the time. I thought it was snake oil. I thought it was the latest network marketing thing. And I wasn't interested in it. But then when my doctor said, if you want to alleviate that just overall arthritic ache, CBD might really do it for you, and it did. And I can't say enough about it. And I've had hips replaced. I've got a knee that's going to be replaced. That's just what it is. The joint's gone. But when it comes to that, you know what I'm talking about if you're an arthritis sufferer. Just that overall ache, and it knocks it out. And when I don't use my CBD, it comes back. I cannot say enough about it. They've also got these salves that you can get. You can get a headache salve. They've got one for pain, and then they have one to treat bug bites and things like that. That Jane, Amy, and Miss Jane make right there in the house. This everything is made from the plants that her brother Bill grows, and then they've got so much more. That's just the tip of the iceberg of what you can find out when you go out there. Because if you're going to grow a garden, you need to go out and talk to Amy about when to get the plants in the ground or the seed in the ground if you're going to do cold weather lettuces and things like that, because it's coming up on time where you're going to need to get that done. It's going to be in the 60s today. Start working your garden. Go talk to them and see what you need to do to make sure your garden's going to grow perfectly. And while you're there, just take a stroll through the greenhouse and go, spring's coming. These beautiful plants. I can't wait to put them in the ground. Now's the time to really talk to them and get some details about what you want to do with your garden. They've got their hours cut back because of the cold weather months. We're from 10 a.m. to 4 are the hours Monday through Saturday, and they're 1 to 4 on Sunday. When you go by, please always let them know that you sent you. Elizabeth Graves is in the house, and follow them on Facebook. I forgot to say that's the best place to find them and to get all the details. 615-384-3185. 615-384-3185. Elizabeth, where do you want to go next? What else do you
Okay,
have to talk about?
so I'm going to talk about one more class, and then I'm going to give you a UT Extension office update.
Okay.
So, as you know, I do teen classes, and my teen classes are back. So right now I have a couple in-school classes, but I will have a class for homeschool kids starting February 1st and ending March 8th at the Stokes Brown Library, and it'll be every Wednesday. And we'll make things like smoothies. I mean, we've got it all. So that class will be at 2:00. So
Okay,
and
very
then the
good.
library knows about it too. So if you forget the times or the dates, call the library.
And your mom is saying the kitchen tools are so worth it because the strainer for the cans is such a handy little kitchen tool. So your mom's like selling. She's like, we've got this, So
Yes,
anyway, so very cool, very cool. And Barbara Willis, yes, they do need kitchen tools. She's like, well, do those old people really need more tools? Yes, they need the latest gadget, Barbara. Of course. Of course they need the latest gadget. Of course they do. And all these tools, you have the ones, here's the thing. You've got older folks sometimes that forget, you know what, I've had this spatula for 10 years. Maybe I need to get a new one because they just get, they hold germs and things like that. So you need to, rotate those out and cast those off. So yes, ma'am. All right,
Yes,
continue on. What else you got for us?
Okay, so our office has changed just a little bit. So Jeff Smith has retired, but we've got a new employee. 40 years after joining Robertson County Extension, the first time, Bob Airy, if you know him, returns as a program assistant in a new role. So Bob will be assisting Robertson County homeowners with information related to consumer horticulture topics, including trees, shrubs, flowers, lawns, vegetables, and other landscaping topics. And he will also be doing the Master Gardener program.
Okay.
And he is normally in the office just on Tuesdays. So catch him on a Tuesday. And you can also email him. I'm going to say his email address at the end. But the 2023 Master Gardener training will be held on Tuesdays beginning January 31st. So it's coming up January 31st and ending May 2nd. Sessions are from 9 to noon, and the cost is $150 for an individual. And enrollment still continues. Like my classes, you can just show up, but his class, you got to pay, and enrollment still continues, so you can still sign up. And he says you are welcome to email him at, get ready, BOBARY at utk.edu.
Do it again. Read it again. Go ahead.
BOBARY at utk.edu. So email him anytime, call us, and he's there on Tuesdays. So come in on Tuesdays if you have any questions. And then on to 4-H. So our extension agents are Sam Teets and Timmy Mann. And 4-H camp sign up is March 6th. Mm-hmm. So that's always a big day for the office. Always a big day. And camp is $330. And the sign up is March 6th. And your kids will be coming home saying, I want to go to 4-H camp. Because
Yes.
I know I was like that with my parents. And but like last year was the first year that the first year that I had not gone to 4-H camp, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart so much. But 4-H camp is a blast, and your kids will absolutely love it. But 4-H camp sign up is March 6th, though. So if you have kids in 4-H, they'll be coming home with more information about it. So on from that, kids that are interested in Chick Chain, which is where you take home, I think it's 6 or 7 baby chicks. Like you come pick them up from the office. I think it's 6 or 7. You get quite a few chicks.
You get a few to raise, right?
And then you can still sign up for that until March 1st. Mm-hmm. So right now, that's a big thing in the office, the Chick Chain. So if you have any questions, call us, because we know all about the Chick Chain.
So is there a fee for that, or can you just adopt the chickens or the little chickies?
I don't think there's a fee.
Okay.
But
Through 4-H, you just have to.
Yeah.
Some things there are, some things there aren't. So just if you're interested in that, check into it. But we're coming up on that season for the little
Yes.
chickies, and so very good, very good. I love it. Y'all got a lot going on. So you made me curious though. With Jeff retiring, is he stepping in? He's not stepping into all of Jeff's roles. So who's going to be taking care of the farming classes and the things like that?
So that's a question.
Okay, well, whoever is, let's maybe get him in. And 'cause
Right.
Jeff was like pulling teeth trying to get him in here. He's a little shy, so
They'll replace him in about five months.
okay. So that's the thing. He's retired, and that's a
yeah.
position that's going to be coming in. And okay,
Yeah.
that was the thing I wasn't really sure of. Is are they going to replace him? And so is that a job posting that people could watch for?
In 5 months.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
But-
So because Jeff is retiring or has completely retired?
Yes.
Okay. So call the office if you have questions, because there's still farm classes and things like that going on. And I'm sure that the folks there at the office can answer any questions about stuff that's coming
Right.
up.
So we are referring to Ronnie Barron in Cheatham County, and he's answering all of our
Okay.
ag questions that we cannot. But we'll Bob and all of us at the office can answer
Probably
to the
most
best of our
them.
ability.
Yeah, probably most of them. But there are classes that I know that Jeff was in charge of, just the things that have to do with your certification for chemical application and all of those kinds of things, and anything to do with, like you said, ag. But I like. Y'all been in there quite a while, so I have a feeling y'all could probably field most of those questions as
Yes.
well. So very good. So anything else on the list that we haven't covered?
Well, I've got another big announcement.
Okay.
February 7th is our Tobacco Day
Okay.
at the Robertson County Fairgrounds.
Okay.
And it's a big time. And it's February 7th, and it starts at 8, and I think it lasts till noon. Look on our Facebook page to fact check me. But it's February 7th.
Is that a weekend? Or do you know?
It's on a Tuesday. I
Okay, so it is
think.
during the
Let-
week. Okay.
Yes.
Well, and I've heard Jeff talk about this in the past, and if you have any questions about the tobacco industry, I'm pulling it up too.
Yeah.
But so tell me that day again.
It's February 7th.
February 7th is a Tuesday. Yeah.
Yes.
February 7th is
Have
a
you got it?
Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay.
And so it is a Tuesday. It's a full week before Valentine's Day. So that's how you can remember it. But so very, very good. I mean, you're just full of information. I told them you need to be their spokesperson from the from the UT Extension office and come in and just keep us apprised of all the events. So
Well, of course.
anytime you need airtime, you just come in and let me know. We've got just a few minutes. I want you to go down and just give the title and the dates of all these events. Just kind of give the little elevator speech real quick. So just to remind everybody, in case you heard something, you didn't write it down, you're like, oh, what day did she say that? So you can go back and listen to the whole show, but let's just kind of go over it real quick. We've got Ron Martin standing by. Our city manager will be coming in here in just a few moments, but let's wrap it up with Elizabeth Graves, soon to be Fletcher. So, right?
Okay, so if you would like to see me again and take one of my cooking classes, I do a class called Eat Well, Feel Well, and it's for older adults, and it is at the Stokes Brown Public Library, and it is on Thursdays, and it's about 20 minutes long. It's not long, I promise. On Thursdays at 1 o'clock, and so come by if you want to do that. And then I'm also doing a class at Byron Porter Senior Center every Wednesday and Friday at 11 o'clock. And that's a really fun class. And then all these classes, you get a kitchen tool at and a sample of food that we're making. So in my teen classes, start February 1st at the Stokes Brown Public Library, and they are at 2 o'clock every Wednesday. So, and our office has changed, of course. So Bob Airy is working there as the master gardener guy. And so call him on Tuesdays. He will be there on Tuesdays. And email him at bobary@utk.edu. Again, that is bobary@utk.edu. And if you are wondering about the Chick Chain camp sign-ups, call Timmy at our office. And the camp sign-up is March 6th. Yeah, that's all I
I
got.
think that's it.
That's it.
Always welcome Elizabeth Graves in the house, coming and just keeping us apprised of everything going on with the UT Extension office, and of course her pending nuptials.
Yes.
We gotta, So I don't know. Well, let's see. I might see you before the wedding. Yeah, because it's a busy spring. So you
It
call me,
is.
keep me up to date, and
It
I will
is.
be praying that
Well, thank
everything goes
you.
wonderful and beautiful, and I know it's going to be wonderful.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great day. Elizabeth Graves, UT Extension office. I'll go by and see her and go to some of her classes. And while she's making the switch, I'm going to go ahead and talk about another one of our sponsors. We want to talk about Cumberland Connect, because guess what, guys? I mean, I'm getting high-speed internet today. I'm so excited. It was so funny. On Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I was not expecting to hear from anybody because I thought everybody was taking the day off. And lo and behold, I see this truck pull into my driveway, and it's them. We've been anticipating this for a while because we are Cumberland Electric customers, and that means that we have access to Cumberland Connect. So I'm just thrilled that they've come on as a full-time sponsor of the program, but they are available to, again, anybody with Cumberland Electric. They've had the box part of it on my utility pole for a while. And I knew that I was first of the year, end of last year, kind of anticipating, because I went to www.cumberlandconnect.org. I put in my zip code, and it gave me a ballpark of when to expect them. Well, they showed up Monday. They ran it to the house, to the outside wall. They're coming in today. My husband's going to have to take some time off from work because he is going to have to be there today to get the full installations. I can't wait. I mean, it's going to be such a game changer for us. I'm dumping Dish Network. I'm dumping AT&T. I'm dumping all that stuff and going to, I think I'm getting a gig. My kids say I don't need a gig, but I kind of just want one because I can have one for $80. I've had upload speeds of 3.5, and I was paying $65 a month for that. So I figure if I let go of Dish and I get the gig, I'm still going to be coming out ahead. I got to figure out my TV packages. Y'all, anybody that knows about that stuff, send me information about what you recommend. Dr. Causey recommends YouTube TV. I'm looking at all that for my local TV, but it's just fun. I'm so excited. And they have all that stuff available too from Cumberland Electric. You can get a TV package. You can get a lesser package. They've got a $50 a month package. It's a 250 megabits per second. And no data caps, no throttling your speeds, no residential contracts. And guys, if you're somebody that you know may need some help paying for internet, maybe they're like, I can't even afford the base package. Well, they have a program available, and it's affordable connectivity program that provides qualifying households with a monthly credit to help pay for internet services. And if you're eligible, you may receive a credit of up to $30 per month toward broadband service. So you could get it for free or greatly discounted. You need to just get on to cumberlandconnect.org to find all this out. Now, if you want to get on there and find out about the program where you can get a affordable connectivity, that is www.cumberlandconnect.org/ACP. But very excited. I'm getting my high-speed internet today. Yes, when he showed up on my doorstep on Monday, I went out and I hugged his neck. I did. I should have put up a selfie or something, but I said, you're here. And I gave him a big hug, and he just laughed and shook his head. But I'm excited. I can't wait to continue to report on Cumberland Connect. Tell him U-Turn Cynthia Ryan Martin in the house. How are you doing, brother?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
Good
How are
morning.
you?
I'm doing very well, and it's so funny. I try to kind of confirm with guests, but Ryan's one of those. I just know he's going to be here.
It's on the calendar.
Yeah,
I'll be here.
I thank you. I thank
I
you.
appreciate the opportunity. As you know, I've told you before, we want folks to know what's going on in the city of Springfield. We want them to know what we're doing, and so we appreciate the opportunity to come and share that each month.
Absolutely.
With the listeners in the community.
I got to brag on I've got my student Alex Maddox that's putting together a documentary on the city that he's doing.
Really?
Yeah, and you'll be hearing from him. He's got your number.
Okay, well, good. That's exciting.
Because he is he's looking at it from the past, but projecting forward.
Sure.
Like what to expect in the future. And so I find it very interesting, but it's just so fun to have a student that's on fire for what I'm teaching. It's like so cool. He teaches me stuff. He's been taking independent classes, so it's just fun.
Very validating to know that you're making a
yeah,
difference and getting him. That's good.
That's just it. So you'll be hearing from Alex.
Awesome.
So he's got. I gave him your number.
Good.
I told him just call him.
That's right. We'll work it out.
You.
We'll be glad to share with him whatever he needs to know about Springfield. That'd be great.
Absolutely. Well, very good. So what happened last night?
Well, we were back to business last night at the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, a regular board meeting. Had a packed house last night. It's not often that we have a whole lot of people show up. I can't imagine why people can find something better to do with their third, more exciting than with their third Tuesday. And I'm just being, kind of being funny about that. But we appreciate anytime people come out. We had a packed house last night for a couple of different reasons. One of those was the Bransford Community Center rezoning. So that parcel that was formerly Bransford High School, that's going to be the future Bransford Community Center, is zoned residential. It's been zoned residential since the city, my understanding is, did the overlay, decades ago. And so now that something needs to be rebuilt there, it has to be zoned properly. So the board undertook that last night to rezone that property to a commercial to allow that community center to take shape. That is going to happen. The city had set aside $1 million for the Bransford Community Center project. The Bransford Community Center Board and Greater Faith has now selected a contractor. They have a concept design, and they're getting ready sometime later this year to move forward with the construction of that project. So
Very
that's exciting to finally come to fruition after several years of talking about it. It looks like it's finally going to happen. The other rezoning on the agenda last night was from Moreland Estates. It was a couple of parcels on Nicholas Drive that the applicant wanted to rezone for a potential food truck park. They wanted to rezone it from residential to commercial, or to multi-residential and office for a food truck park. And that was somewhat of a contested and contentious issue. It was contentious at the Planning Commission level. It was contentious previously when the owner had brought those parcels to be rezoned. And part of the issue from our perspective was the fact that both of those parcels were platted in the residential subdivision of Moreland Estate. So it's kind of hard when the subdivision's platted out, and here are the lots in this residential subdivision, to take two of them and make them commercial. So that was sort of a barrier to rezoning to us. Obviously, the residents did not want a food truck park in their backyard. The residents that live nearby, for obvious reasons, and nothing against the applicant or the agent that was representing the food truck park, because they're wonderful people. They do great work in the community, and so we're happy to support them and work with them on other projects. This just wasn't the one that worked out because of the location, because of the existing conditions of the property being in a residential subdivision and that sort of thing. So that was unanimously voted down by the board. So that issue dies for now. That the rezoning of those were right across from Walmart is where those were. Folks may have seen signs up because we got a lot of calls about what was going on over there. Some exciting news is the board did move forward with passing some resolutions that are in assistance of our LPRF grant. And I'm going to back off the acronyms. I'm going to tell you what that means. It's the Local Parks and Recreation Fund grant. I've told you before, we don't do anything alone or by ourselves. There are partnerships, and we'll talk about more of them today, partnerships that we have. Grants, state grants are one of those things that we really like to go after, because why should another community get the money to help their park when we can get it to help ours?
Yeah.
And so we're applying for a state grant, Local Parks and Recreation Fund grant, this year to do a variety of things. Upgrades to Garner Street Park is one of those. We want to replace that restroom facility out there. If you've been to Garner Street Park lately, you know it's time to do that. That restroom facility's been there for quite some time and needs to be replaced outright. Needs to be replaced. We need to make that more accessible and feasible for our citizens and guests. Playground 2000 is something that is kind of outlived its lifespan, and so it's they don't build them like that anymore. You're not allowed to build them like that anymore. That one's obviously was built years ago, and so it's been a wonderful playground. It served the community well, but it's facing some issues, as well as being some out of compliance in some areas for a newer facility, and so that's time to be replaced as well. And then pickleball. Do you play pickleball?
I do not, but I'm curious about it. I haven't picked it up, but I know it's the rage.
It is absolutely the rage. So we've had to adapt and adopt to the changing circumstances and sort of makeshift some pickleball courts. We've done that in the center. We've done it in outdoors, but we're going to try to build some pickleball courts at Garner Street Park, and we're going to try to make some actual pickleball courts that aren't just on a tennis court, that are kind of, we're going to try to make some pickleball courts, because we're seeing a huge demand from our community.
Isn't
right
that
now for
fascinating? That. It was kind of like disc golf. I mean, who knew?
Same thing.
Who knew? I have a friend of mine, her son-in-law is now sponsored in disc golf.
Really?
Yeah. He's that good, and he's got, I guess professional. I was like, what? I didn't know it was a thing. But he's got some kind of sponsorship with disc golf. I'll have to pull that up on him. But it's just, when these new things come along, it just sometimes just takes wind. And it just goes crazy. And so that's the thing with pickleball.
Same thing.
Yeah,
I saw
crazy.
it on TV and with pickleball national championships or something.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, it went
like,
from
what?
being something fun that people play to now it's a competitive sport that's on ESPN.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's
so
like, what is that? So you just never know. I love it. That's
right.
fun.
And
Yeah,
so we want
cool.
to be able to provide that service. That's what it all boils down to. That's why we're here. We're here to provide and serve our community. And so if our community wants to play pickleball, then we need to help them. If we have the space, we need to allow them to play pickleball. And so that's just that's interesting. Disc golf is another one that we adapted and adopted to couple of years ago, the disc golf course, that was via a partnership. We had a partnership with the Discing Disciples that came in and sort of helped us and did a lot of things for that disc golf course out at Travis Price. And that thing has hosted sanctioned tournaments, which leads to tourism, right? That's what tourism in Springfield looks like, is when we host a disc golf tournament that brings in hundreds of disc golfers from different states, and they stay a couple of days, they spend money, they eat, that sort of thing, just like the Legacy does. When Austin Peay had an invitational with 8 women's golf teams from a variety of states that come in. That's what people still ask me. Tell me how Springfield has tourism. And that's how. I mean, that's exactly how. Those type of things right there. We're hosting a Dixie Youth State Tournament this year.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be huge.
It brings in a lot of teams and a lot of families that stay here, and they eat for a few days, and they shop for a few days, and that sort of thing. That's a huge boost to our local economy, because those are people, again, I know Mayor Vogel says this all the time, and we look at it from a tourism perspective. That's your best kind of customer, because they spend all the money, but they don't take your resources. They're not the ones that are traveling on your roads a lot. They're here for just a short time and they're gone. They're not using any more of your resources. So those are the best kind of guests that we can have, and our visitors are what help keep taxes low for our residents. So the more visitors we can get in here to spend money, the lower our taxes stay for our residents. So we want to continue to encourage that as much as possible. Utility rates, the board, obviously, we've talked about before, we have monthly fuel cost and purchase gas adjustments that we have to, through TVA and through purchasing gas on the open market, that we have to adjust for every month. And your base rate, the base rates don't change. The base rates are set. But it's the minor adjustment in the fuel cost of what it costs TVA to get us the electricity, or what it costs us to purchase gas on the open market. And so those were slightly higher last night, but I will say that we dodged a major situation, and I don't know that we've really talked since Christmas. I haven't been here since in December, but we had a situation over the holidays, over the Christmas holidays, with the bad weather. With the electricity. TVA lost a generating plant, and everybody knows about the rolling blackouts. If you live in other areas besides Springfield, you are probably subjected to rolling blackouts. Not in Springfield. We were able to avoid that for a couple of different reasons. We had already shed a lot of our load that TVA wanted the local power companies to shed, and so we were able to avoid the local blackouts, or rolling blackouts. But that was a real treacherous situation when it's -4 degrees outside and folks are having their electricity cut off. And so then it becomes harder to get it back on because of the cold weather and things not wanting to turn back on. So that was a real scary situation around Christmas. And so we're grateful. I know TVA is looking at some things about how they can make sure that they do a better job, or make sure things are upgraded and equipped to provide when the weather hits like that. So we know what happened in Texas a few years ago, and everybody kind of looked and pointed the finger at Texas and laughed. And then, here it is a few years later, and we have one sub-zero cold snap, and we lose power. So that's why we shouldn't point the finger very often, because we can very well eat those words. But we dodged a major winter rate spike, and that's what I had warned about last fall, talking about concerned about what utility rates were going to do, and we dodged that. I mean, we were very fortunate. We didn't have a huge in fact, utility rates were higher in the summer than they are right now. So, which is, usually they're about even, or maybe winter's a little higher depending on how cold it is. And so we're very fortunate to be lower than we were. So people are not spending as much money on their, now your usage may be higher. If you're running your heat all day long, then sure, your usage, then your bill might be higher, but what you're paying per unit is not higher right now than it was in the summer. So I'm pleased to let folks know that.
And we're really just getting started with winter too, so we'll see where it goes. But the fact that that's projected, that makes it. I mean, even if we do what I'm trying to say, it's mild right now, but we're not finished yet. So if those cold temperatures come back in,
Correct.
At least we've got that, knowing that those rates are steady right now.
Correct, and that'll set your rates for February, and
Right.
And so for the February rates that you pay, and then March will probably look somewhat similar, kind of the way things look right now. So that gets us, because you're right, some of our worst winter issues are in February and March. I mean, we can have snow in March or February.
Especially February.
Yeah.
And I mean, we haven't even touched him as a garment really when it comes to winter. And it's mild right now, and it's looking good for the next week. So maybe we'll have a mild winter, but you just never know.
You never know. But
Yeah.
I think 66 degrees feels really nice to folks today and yesterday. So
Oh, yeah.
So we'll take that. approved a few things last night. Part of our strategic plan is to make sure our infrastructure. I talked about TVA taking care of their infrastructure. Part of our plan is to make sure our infrastructure is taken care of, that we can continue to provide services. So the board approved a couple of agreements last night to move forward on the water treatment plant, an upgraded design, not the wastewater treatment plant. We're still moving forward on that one, but the water treatment plant, we've got to. Not to get into the details, most of which I don't understand because I'm not an engineer, but upgrading some of our variable frequency drives out there, which help the production of water so we can become more efficient. We have a 10 million gallon per day capacity at our water treatment plant to produce up to 10 million gallons per day. And so we're upgrading some equipment out there to make that more efficient, to make sure we can continue to provide the maximum capacity and efficiency of water that we need to do, which was another crisis that we dodged after the cold snap. And a lot of utilities, water utilities, were affected when we had so many. Everyone, it was unique because I've been around here a long time, and this was the first cold snap, or my whole life I've been around here. The first cold snap that I can remember that everyone either knew someone or had a pipe bust. They either had a pipe bust or knew someone that did. And usually, you hear about it, or you hear about, but it was close. You could reach out and touch someone if you weren't affected yourself.
Yep.
And so what that caused, aside from the damage to people's homes and things like that, is a lot of lost water. Oh. And so for those that don't understand kind of how the water system works, from the elementary perspective that I understand, again, because I'm not an engineer, you have these tanks. Everybody sees water tanks. Those help with pressure. And so when those tanks can't build up water with us sending the tanks water, then people lose water pressure. You can ultimately lose water, period, because there's not enough pressure to get it down the line. And so with so much lost water, our tank volumes were really dangerously low. And so finding all those leaks as that played out over the course of a few days, with service leaks in yards that didn't manifest themselves until a couple of days later because the ground was wet anyway, so you couldn't tell that there was a leak. A lot of issues, and a lot of utilities I know struggled. We struggled a little bit to make sure our tank volumes, we had to conserve and strategically figure out how we were going to make sure to keep pressures for folks and keep water. Worked with our wholesale clients as well as our wholesale vendor, because we also purchase water we make water, but we also purchase water from a second source. I don't say we make water. We produce drinking water. We don't create or make water, but we produce drinking water, and we also purchase it. So that was another crisis that we dodged. And I say all that, Laverne, to let everybody know that we are constantly and continuously working to make sure that we can provide the services, whether it's electricity or water. I want folks to know that our staff is working hard for them. I mean, we Christmas Day, we had a lot of folks that were out there in that -4 degree weather working hard to make sure that their lights stayed on, that the water kept coming through. Because when I speak to groups of kids, groups from different elementary school or whatever will come in and they'll talk, I'll say, that light switch that you turn on, that's the city of Springfield. If you're in the city of Springfield, that's who provides that. When you flip that water faucet on, we take it for granted.
You bet we do.
We don't realize, where that comes from. And so we had folks that were really working hard. So I'm proud of what we did. We had folks out there cleaning the streets. We had ice on the streets. And so
I felt that's one thing with that cold snap happening. You think about those people that ended up having to work Christmas, and you think, because there was a bunch of them. There was a bunch of them. And I never thought about what you talk, so many people with broken pipes, what that would do to the water supply. Yeah, because I'm sitting here just in my head thinking about who all I knew that had broken pipes, and you're absolutely right. I had not thought about that. That is very interesting. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's a good point. Everyone knew, if they didn't have one themselves, everyone knew someone that was affected, and that
a few,
or a few, at least one. So that has a huge effect on the water system. We estimated that I think we lost about 2 million gallons per day during that time, 2 to 2.5 million gallons per day, which is a lot of water in our system to lose. And so that creates a problem from a supply. It wasn't that we didn't have enough water. It was that the water we were sending into the system was getting lost, such that the tanks weren't able to build up. And so it was a weird problem to have, not something that we experience very often or have ever experienced. So a couple other good things that I want to mention that the board did last night is Coach Dustin Wilson, who's also the athletics director at Springfield High School, came last night. They are in the midst of renovating and redoing their training facility there, the athletics training facility, weight training facility that a lot of different programs there use. That facility was built in the 90s. It was a great facility when it was built. It is it's due for some changes. Coach Wilson told us last night that the roof leaks, and it's not climate controlled, so there are some new TSSAA heat regulations to protect student athletes, and so there are some things that need to be done there. And so they've embarked I think last year on a fundraising project to help do that. He would be a good guest for your show, by the way, if you haven't had him on to talk about what's going on at Springfield High and the football season they just had. They had a successful football season, but I'm sure he would really appreciate me for recommending him.
Well, we've been trying to get somebody in from there because Jamie Nixon comes on every Thursday now in the morning to kind of cover the sports scene. And so we've been reaching into all the schools to find somebody. So, yeah, that's a challenge. We need you in. So
Sure.
bring them in for sure. Because, I mean, now they're going to renovate the facility. They're not going to rebuild it.
Right, correct.
Okay.
They're going to renovate it. It'll look better aesthetically, but
Sure.
it'll also have some
Fix the roof.
they're going to fix the roof. They've already added, I think, one HVAC system. He said last night, and so there's some things that have to be done to get that facility up to standard,
Okay.
and so they're going to do that. A lot of students and student athletes at the high school get to use that facility, so it'll be great. We our strategic plan. I go back to that because. I say that for a reason. Our strategic plan guides what we do, and it's how we serve our community and our customers. And so one facet of our strategic plan is to build the relationships with the school system and support the local school system, support our schools in our area, because those are our citizens in those schools, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the ways that we can do that. So annually we appropriate some funds for the Title I schools as well as the after school reading program through a grant from the school. So we give the school system a grant for that. We've also done over the last couple of years through TVA some STEM grants to Springfield Middle and the Innovation Academy. So we've touched all these facets. So I don't want people to think, well, they're just helping. They're just doing something for athletics. No, that's just one facet that we're doing now. Annually, we do the Title I stuff. We do Ready to Read program. We do STEM grants. We haven't done anything for Springfield High School in several years, and so
it's time.
This was an opportunity to do that. We had the availability of some funds to contribute to their project, and so we're glad to do that. That will help. It'll make that campus look better because it'll look better from the road, so it helps the city of Springfield, and it helps our citizens and the students and student athletes out there as well. So
Very good. I'm sure we can probably touch with Dr. Causey, too, and how they're involved as well, because it's usually a joint project that several get together, and this one does this one does that, and you get it done. So very good. Talking with Ron Martin. He is my guest. He is our city manager for you newbies here in town that don't know who he is. That's the way we have a county mayor, and we have a city mayor, but we have a city manager. And so it's very interesting. You've talked to us about the structure, and I probably don't have time to do that today, but we're continuing to get a report on the mayor and alderman meeting. So what else did you guys do?
We also had the memorandum of understanding with the Kiwanis Club for the skate park. So we've talked about it for a long time, a skate park facility at Garner Street Park. And that's gone through some reconceptualizing, if you will, to make it bigger and better. And that's done. It's done that. And so Kiwanis, we're grateful for their partnership and their willingness to support and make that facility a reality. And so last night we accepted that donation through an MOU and as well as established kind of the timeline of things that play out through the construction and installation of that. So they're gonna hire the contractor to construct the facility. We're going to provide some ancillary stuff and obviously the land to do that. So like I told you, we don't do anything without partnerships. I mean, we rely on community partnerships. We're grateful that people want to pour. They see what's going on in Springfield and they want to invest in Springfield and they want to pour into Springfield. So we're really thankful for the Kiwanis Club for that, and we're looking forward to having that skate park become a reality in the city of Springfield.
Do you have any kind of a projected date when that will happen, or is it still too many things to work out?
Too many things right now.
Okay.
I don't know. It depends on when they can start. I don't know. I I think I was told it was a 6-month construction, but I don't 6-month
Sure.
construction timeline. So depending on the execution of the contract and
Okay.
when they get started and turn ground, that sort of thing. So hopefully very soon. I know people are really. There's
a lot of people. They're like, I can't wait.
There's a buzz.
Yeah.
It'll help alleviate. I think one of our aldermen mentioned last night. It'll help alleviate some of the crowdedness on the Greenway.
Right.
Because our Greenway has a lot of skaters on it, which is great. We love to see people out. We love to see people using our Greenway.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, if the skaters want to go to the skate park, that gives more room for the walkers and the runners and the bicycle folks on the Greenway.
It was so funny. I had during my time off from school during the Christmas break, I had a breakdown. So I had to get my car over to the transmission shop over there by Doris Milling, the Springfield Auto and Transmission, right? So I dropped it off there, and my husband couldn't come get me because he was working. He was going to be a while, and I was like, I'm going to go for a walk. And it didn't take me just a brief bit before I was on the Greenway. And he goes, where are you? I said, I'm on the Greenway. I will meet you at the park.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. It was just the most wonderful thing. I was like, it don't matter that my car needs to be fixed. I'm going to go for a walk on the Greenway. And I just enjoyed that so much. But I did. I just had to. People don't realize how handy it is. And a lot of times you think, well, where am I? Oh, the Greenway's right there. And you can hop on it, take a little stroll. And it was just wonderful.
That's right.
It was just a wonderful, wonderful thing. So thank you. Thank you for the Greenway.
That's a beautiful stretch right
Yes,
through there
it is.
between North Main and Garner Street Park. That's a really
It's beautiful.
So I'll finish up here with some announcements that are probably of interest to people. We do have a new electric director. His name is Terry Risha. So for those that know, Robert Gardner had retired about going on 3 years ago. It's probably been 2.5 years ago now, and we had struggled to find a full-time replacement for him. And so we had an interim person that was supposed to be here 6 months. He had retired from Murfreesboro, and he came in and was willing to help us out and did a great job for us. We're grateful for everything that he did. That interim stint, he did not wish to be a full-time permanent
Right.
director. But that interim stint lasted about 2.5 years, and so we finally were able to find Mr. Terry Risha, who spent a lot of his career at the Clarksville Department of Electricity, and over 30 years there, and engineering manager, operations manager, did a lot while he was there. And so we're grateful to have somebody with his knowledge, with his expertise, to come and serve Springfield, and we're excited to have him. So we introduced him last night officially to the board. Our local economy is still pretty strong. We have our sales tax receipts are coming in very strong, which suggests that people are still spending money. People are shopping locally, which we're grateful for. We do realize that some of that is, again, relative to inflation. So inflation is still very real. If anyone's tried to buy eggs recently, I saw something someone sent me this week. It said that we're going to have to hunt potatoes for Easter instead of eggs, because that'll be a lot cheaper. So inflation's still very real, and so we've got to navigate that. But local spending is still strong. Local economy is still strong, and so we're grateful for that. I mentioned strategic planning. The board will meet for its strategic planning session coming up on January the 30th. You can go to our website for more details on that. It's at January 30th at the airport. Winter Wonderland. We talked about Winter Wonderland.
It was great.
And what a success that was. We had over 21,000 visitors to Winter
Wow.
Wonderland this year, which is the second year in a row with over 20,000 visitors, and that continues to grow. And so we're really grateful for that, and really grateful for folks that come. Again, that's what tourism looks like. If we can get them to stop and grab something to eat on their way out, if we can do something, that's what tourism looks like in Springfield. It serves a variety of it looks like a variety of things. It doesn't look like Gatlinburg. It doesn't look like Sevierville with this line of tourist attractions and bungee jumping and go-karts and things like that. It can, but that's not what it looks like right now in Springfield. And so there are different ways that we fill that void.
Absolutely. I love it. And you were talking about the numbers for Winter Wonderland, and you think about with the bad weather coming in, they had to close early. And so if we had been able to have the full every night there, can you imagine what the numbers would have been?
We lost two weekends, actually.
Yeah.
We closed early, but we
Yeah,
also
yeah.
lost the first part of
You
the first
better believe
weekend
it.
because of rain.
And I'm stunned that we
Yeah.
were able to, because I figured that would really hurt us, because it was it was terrible at the end. I mean, you had to shut it down. So losing 2 weekends and being able to get those kind of numbers, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good.
Absolutely. Well, and I appreciate it. Again, Laverne, I would encourage anyone to follow us on social media, sign up for our newsletter. we have a citizen newsletter that goes out every month. It's getting ready to go out again. It usually goes out in a few days following the board meeting, so that way we can update you on what the board did. You can live stream our meetings. You can watch those. We are as transparent as we can be to let you know what's going on, because you're the people that we serve, and so we want you to know what we're doing.
Absolutely. Now, the guy you mentioned to the Springfield, was that the head coach you mentioned?
He's the head football coach and the athletics director. Yeah, Dustin Wilson.
Well, I'll get on that, because I would like to have them in, and I'll put Jamie on that tomorrow and say, hey, we got to track him down. I think he's scheduling. I've been trying to get Brother Gardner in here. He's preaching full time now. Ever since I said, well, now that you've retired, I still can't get him in here. He's so busy.
He's still.
He
busy.
does an amazing work through that church. He's just an awesome person. Him and his bride, oh my goodness, they're just awesome people. And you too. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate all you do. And we'll go out with my commercial and get ready for Lee Marie coming in here for the Ghost Show. She is on her way, so get ready for that. But we'll let Ryan go ahead and step out, and I'll finish up with talking about my friends Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team. Do you want to be a part of all this wonderful stuff we're talking about here in Springfield? Do you want to be a part of Robertson County? That's what we want to invite you to come be a part of that. And if you need a good realtor, my friends Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team, they are friends of mine from the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival, which is on the calendar now. It's the 19th and 20th of May. We cannot wait to have that. That's out in Cross Plains, of course. But that's where I met the Richardses, and they'll be out there. And it's what they do at the fair. At the festival is they sit around the table and they talk to you about your real estate questions, and they can do that anytime. You don't have to wait till the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival to talk to them. You can come out and give them a call, and they'll come out and see you. Barry is the expert at marketing. Rebecca's been at this a long time, one of the first in the area to be a senior real estate specialist, which means she studies. She's staying up to date on everything that you need to know to come to the real estate table. You got to get pre-qualified. How much house can you buy? The interest rates are higher. What does that do to the bottom line? They can answer all those questions. And if you've got property to sell, you want to make sure people see it and they go, oh, I want to take another look at that. And because Barry is an expert, he is a Zillow certified photographer, licensed and insured drone pilot, does the 360-degree virtual reality home tour. He's going to make sure all that happens, and your property is not going to get passed by when they're looking at it online. You want to connect with them? They're in Cross Plains. They've been there for over 20 years. They're one of us. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. Connect with them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com. And better yet, why don't you just give Rebecca a call? It's at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. As always, please let them know U-Turn sent you. My sweet friend Lee Marie is on the way with the Go Show. Stay tuned. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless.